big loader or a big storer, we can consume that data right away. And it's as easy as that. What are your typical problems? I started off with saying that you need to know where your data is. So you need some sort of repository in which you basically store this information. And part of that is what Metastore does. It basically has information about information. And if you have one tool basically working on one project, and it basically has a common namespace, a common naming system by which it can reference that data, then other tools can also access it by that same name and get that data. Now, what you now have solved is basically you can do //temp/project something, and you don't care about that anymore, which is called project table. So by HCatalog being in between, you don't really care about where data is, your actual data is. Interoperability is just through your system. You have the other case where I basically said you need to be able to find out what your formats are and what happens there, and you need to be able to have a different kind of all different kinds of data being available in the base, and we kind of try to solve that problem as well. You register your data with HCatalog. The data provider knows what kind of data it is, and basically tells HCatalog, and HCatalog stores that information. Do you have one piece of data which has an integer and a string? You can register that, and then tomorrow you want to go ahead and add another string to that so that this table, so to speak, has 3 columns instead of 2. No problems. HCatalog will go ahead and add those as the case may be. And basically what you get is a unified table abstraction on top of any data. And we present it to you as an HCat record, which is very similar to a Java list of objects. So if you want to inspect, or if you want to be able to look into the data and use it, that's easy. Getting involved with the HCat site, HCat project is fairly easy, and I hope some of you will actually try considering it. We are an Apache incubator project, and you can actually reach us at incubator.HCatalog. We have a user and tab list where there's a lot more information going on. And so far, we've had a whole bunch of things that we've done, and most of it is just trying to get things working, if you will. We're at a stage where the HCatalog project really needs to start growing, and really needs to, tighten the screws, if you will, in a number of areas. And there's a bunch of things that we want to do. HBase integration is something that we've been working on, and most of the people that are working actively on it are from that. So a shout out to them. And we're trying to actually nail down a better table metaphor. So far, the classic table metaphor is from Hive that we borrowed is something that has a notion of columns. It's a typical, two-dimensional thing. But the moment we started getting involved in HBase, we had this notion of revisions, and we had this notion of snapshots. Now, those don't fit too well into table metaphor unless you start trying to get fancy and try to say, oh, there is a time dimension as well, and try to analyze it that way. Now, that may be something to look at. That may be something to say about it. But we really need to try and nail down a better metaphor for what a table is, and to try and get it working across systems for completing our notion of integration with HBase. There's a bunch of work that still needs to be done on the Hive integration end. Funnily enough, we say that, integrate with Hive, and we use the Hive metastore and that sort of thing. But the current picture is mostly that everyone else talks through HCatalog to the metastore and to your data. Hive uses the metastore and talks to the data directly. So in that sense, there is interoperability. But there is also a difference in that essentially they're going through different workloads. Essentially, they're trying to do potentially different transformations. What you actually get from your data might be subtly different. What optimizations exist when you're trying to access data are subtly different. And And for this, we hope to try and work more on the hive. The abstractions that are defined by HCatalog are kind of different from the abstractions defined by Hive. We need to try and bridge that gap. There are a lot of people that have put in work into trying and plugging into Hive's framework, and we need to be able to get them to be able to run through HCatalog. And we need to make all the people that are integrating into HCatalog first-class citizens on Hive as well. And so there's work on that. And well, a couple of JIRAs that are kind of hopefully drawing attention after this at least. One, we really need a project load. A lot of proposals have come up, and most of them involve cats. Okay. And so, the internet loves its cat videos. And so, well, that's the case. But in addition, there's also one more thing, one more very interesting place that we've begun a little bit of work. There's still a lot more work to do, and that's funny. And I don't know if many of you noticed, but in the first slide, the title slide, I basically have HCatalog and friends. And we need to try, this is what that's really about. So we have basically, one of the main queries that keep coming to us HCat developers is that people need an interface to be able to talk to us that's not a Java interface. And the word REST gets thrown around a lot. But primarily we also need to go away from philosophical implications of whether something is RESTful or not. Web service-like interface is actually pretty useful and pretty important. And especially for tools being down in the ecosystem that want to access metadata, things like data discovery tools and whatnot. A web service interface is actually really important. And so there was a need to try and standardize some sort of API that we can provide. And we also noticed that a lot of projects seem to keep trying to do this thing when they try to use a web service interface for that thing. So Templeton started off as trying to basically be a web service API project. It is supposed to be a framework in which you build your web services API. And we're still very much prototyping. An early stab is uploaded onto HCatalog 182 because we needed it, and we thought, okay, it's better to try something general and then try to get more people to actually use it. And so basically the idea is just a simple thin web services API, and that's basically that. Some work has already gone into it. We already have integration with things like WebHDFS. We already have the ability to run basic DDL commands for HCatalog. We have the ability to be able to launch take and bring, say, Hive jobs, and we'll see what goes from there. And that's basically my talk. So, any questions?
How about a round of applause first?